hit the record button now. So we are going to one extra little bonus round for IGC Season 7. So we are going to see that last missing game on Africa. So I'm going to get that fired up just momentarily, and then we'll get this posted up as well. So of course the coverage for the main coverage is going to be posted to YouTube as well, and then I will just sneakily add this extra little video on because we do have the coverage. So let me grab that replay and see if we can see a little bit of action. Alright, the game is looking like it is loading up, so that is much better result than the replay vault. Alrighty, so let's go, and I won't bore you with intro videos again. Let's jump straight into the game. So we are going to see the VII clan playing off against the SNF clan, and this is going to be on Africa. So we did see that last game on Africa. We saw the awesomeness that is Africa, and we will see some of that awesomeness again. So this will load momentarily, and then we'll be underway when it finishes thinking about it. Alright, there we go. Okay, so we have got our final game for IGC Season 7, round, what are we up to, round 5? I can't even remember. Round 4, there we go. Round 4, alright, we are facing off the VII clan against SNF. So, for the SNF clan, we have Pappy Noob. He is opting for Aeon. He is on the far left. He's going to throw down his first land factory. Then he's going to, well, actually, after his first mix, that is a very interesting play indeed. Alright, beside him, we have got Chosen. He is going to also go Aeon. He's going to throw down his first land factory, get down a little bit of power, and then get the rest of his expansion underway. Then in the support position we have got Fear of Noobs. He is bright pink and he is going Aeon as well, so a very suspicious trend towards Aeon for this match. And then very interestingly we have got Dumb Noob, who is also Aeon. So he is going to go straight for the Hydro once his land factory is up and running, and that rounds out the entirety of the Aeon SNF clan team. Alright, their opponents for this match are Calvarox. He is sporting another Aeon faction, and he has got his land factory up. He is getting his Hydra underway and also building Tech 1 power gens. Beside him, we have got Gorton for the VII clan. He is going Cybran. So yes, we finally have a non-Aeon team member, and that is Gorton in his blue colour. There he has thrown down his first land factory, getting his Tech 1 P-Gens, as well as his Hydro, and getting an air factory underway. Then we've got This Is Fine, being Soviet Pride, and he is going UEF, and he is... what is he doing? First drone. What is this madness? He has gone first drone. He is coming out here, and we have got a metric buttload of manual reclaim orders for that drone. So I hope he is going to be able to provide a lot of assistance to his team members for this sacrifice that he made of only just getting his land factory completed at 2 minutes 13 seconds. Then last but not least, for the Voice of Reason clan, Keezer. He is also going Aeon, so a very, very heavy trend towards Aeon this time around, and that is going to be in baby pink, and he's got his first land factory and Hydro up. He's going transport first out of that air factory, and he's going to grab some of those engineers and start scooting around the map and trying to do things with those. Alright, we've got a little bit of forward expansion here from Pappy Noob. He's got an Aurora out across the water. He's coming across. He's probably going to try and deny any engineers trying to build a naval factory. Let's see if we can see where the move order is. It is heading right up towards where the naval factory is most likely going to go down. But so far, nothing from him because Keezer has focused on that transport. Alright, we have got a little bit more movement over this side. So far, no combat units though. There's a couple of interceptors around and there's a scout, but no more Auroras, although there's one just getting over the water now. He is going to head across to the island just to make sure there are no pesky engineers from Calvarox trying to take the island from him. There is a bomber sitting stationary, not the best investment ever because bombers don't do a lot of damage when they're stationary. stationary on your side of the map, but hopefully Gorton will get him into play sometime soon, and we've got quite a forward ACU from him as well, so he is right at the front. He's grabbing probably a little bit of reclaim, he's grabbing some mixes, and he's probably going to throw down some factories around that once he has it completed. So let's go and see what the ACUs on the south are doing, because the Vor clan up the top is moving reasonably far forward. We've got Peppy Noob, he is coming forward with his ACU, he's building that forward production facility, and we've got Chosen as well, who's coming towards the centre, trying to build a forward production facility as well. Now, in the last game, we saw that the player in this position was a little bit slow at getting land online, and that meant that the top team was able to push through with T1 spam. Well, let's see if we get the same thing here, or perhaps Fear of Noobs is going to get some factories online pretty soon and be able to start spamming out. We've got a little bit of air engagement over this way. We can see that Calvarox is taking on some of Fear of Noobs interceptors. There is a slight advantage in numbers to Fear of Noobs, but it looks like it's pretty even overall. And Gordon's got a couple of interceptors as well, which he's not actually got in play right now. Okay. Then we've got, well, a little bit of an Aurora play actually over this side. So that is Keezer, he's coming across here. He's got the numbers to be able to beat Pappy Noob out of the water, which is a little bit of a problem because Pappy Noob probably wants to get some naval facilities online, but he's not going to be able to because there is just a little bit too much for Keezer blocking him right now. And it looks like the transport, well, actually the North team, so Vor is actually doing pretty well in the air game right now because Gordon has got a few interceptors, Calvarox has got a bunch of interceptors, and they've probably got a slight advantage over the noobs down the bottom, especially with if there's a bad turn like that and Fear of Noobs starts losing interceptors to fire. Alright, it looks like these guys are really suffering from a lack of coordination with their interceptors. Because there's multiple players building interceptors, they tend to have a little bit of a 1 versus 2 fight a bit more frequently than they probably should. And we can see there are a bunch of engineers dropped down in the center now, so Chosen is making a play for that center as well. One of those engineers going after a mix, the other two going after a factory. So the two engineers there have got the same build capacity as Gorton's ACU, but Gorton's ACU was underway a lot earlier, so that means he will get that finished first. He will be able to produce some units to knock away Chosen's attempt. And we can see Chosen getting his forward production facilities well. They're starting to come online now, and he's actually under upgrade right now. So Chosen throwing down. Does he have Notify on? What the F did I do wrong? And that's probably going to be gun, isn't it? So he's probably going to push quite hard with that ACU up the center. He's got a couple of bombers as well to assist. He's actually doing all right in the center crater because it looks like it was a first engineer out from Gorton, and actually a whole swag load of engineers and a single Mantis come dropping in as well. So Gorton is probably going to get the lion's share of the reclaim out of that crater. And it looks like Keys was actually doing a really nice job of holding this island over here. And there is a Tick 1 PD, which is an absolute nightmare for Auroras because they just are too low to reach over those walls and hit the PD itself. So that is going to be a problem. And of course there are Tick 1 bombers coming in, and Auroras die in a single pass to Tick 1 bombers, so it won't take too many of those to cause absolute havoc in Pappy Noob's army, so that is not going to go too well for him. Calvarox is looking awfully aggressive here with his ACU. He's deciding to bring that right up. There is a sub on his trail though, so maybe not the best idea to be taking hits for free from a sub. But of course T1 subs do so little damage that Calvarox has got plenty of time to wander through the water and do whatever it is that he was planning on doing and getting out of there. And what is this? That is a reclaim. So he is going, I would like that naval factory please, and taking it for himself. And we've still got the air engagement going over here. Well, there's no air engagement because there's no air from Pappy Noob, and it is all one-sided. There's no AA either, so these bombers are absolutely having a field day and destroying the T1 army from Pappy Noob. In the centre, we've got a bunch of interceptors landing. Probably not the best idea to land them on the front lines, but they are safe for now, and he's actually picked that up and moved them. A pretty good production facility here for Pappy. He's actually got quite a lot of production power online. Does he have the eco to support? He's sitting on 27 mass per tick right now, and that compares to, well, we've got 29 for Chosen, 34 for Calvarox, 21, 32, 42. So it's fairly even distribution again between the two teams. Obviously, some positions have a little bit more eco power than others, and we can see actually a shift to T2 here for Fear of Noob. So he has got Swift Winds on the field, and a few more Swift Winds will easily give map or air control of the map to the noobs, and they do need that right now because the North team have got quite a good number of interceptors online, and they've even started spamming gunships, so there are a little bit of T2 coming from the North as well, and that is Spectres. So that is Aeon, of course. Keyser is Aeon, so he does have the ability to build Swift Winds as well. So that could be a little bit of a problem, that the North has got a superior number of interceptors, and they've also got the Swift Wind capability as well. There's a nice little shard out there for Dumb Noob. He is going to just start shooting down those interceptors with that anti-air boat and cause problems for them. And the Dumb Noob did bring his ACU in to fight off Calvarox's ACU, who has backed right up out of there, and he's heading there. He's down into the yellow, so he did take a little bit of damage. Now, Pappy Noob's still got a lot of T1 in the area, but not really able to encroach on this island that Keyser has because of that PD. He does need to find another way to disable that PD, and in fact that other way might be these T1 bombers, because they are going to work and they are getting a lot done because there is no air in the skies over there right now for the Vor clan. So that's a big problem for them, and he actually skirted right around up to the north and he's taking out some eco, and there's a T2 mechs here, which these Auroras could easily destroy if they come in this side, because they are out of range of that T1 PD. They need to make sure they stay out of range of the PD, but if they can do so, they will do very well and be able to take out that eco. So far it's looking like a bit of an advantage now for the noobs in the water, because Pappy Noob is controlling this with Auroras and Dumb Noob is controlling this with actual Navy, and he's actually switched up to T2 Navy. Unfortunately, he is Aeon, which means he doesn't have a cruiser with TAC missiles on board, which can really reach out and touch a lot of the base that is above here for Calvarox, and I think a cruiser can even reach a little bit into Gorton's base, if I recall correctly, but don't quote me on that. So that is definitely an advantage for having the T2, but it will be restricted to destroyers at this stage for Dumb Noob, so I'm not quite sure how much he can do. The destroyers, of course, will be very useful in batting away this facility that Calvarox has put up on the island, so that will be one advantage to having some Tech 2 destroyers, but I'm not sure that it is quite enough worth the T2 Naval Factory HQ. We can see the Spectre gunship going to work on that assault units, or the assaulting units from Pappy Noob. Not quite able to take that T2 mechs down, 500 HP left on that, and in fact the air is not quite able to dispatch that Spectre anyway, so that is a bit of a loss there for the noobs without anything in return. Pappy Noob's still doing a very good job of having units all over the place. The Auroras have mostly disappeared from Keyser's forward position, but that T1 PD is just still unstoppable for those Auroras, so he does need to drop a couple of things on that. In fact, it looks like he might be going for a T1 land factory, and he'll produce some fervors right there on the island to deal with that. And if he can do so, that will mean that he has the advantage there. Now, it looks like Soviet Pride has actually gone for a TAC pack. So we see in the chat there, tactical missile done. And how are these other guys placed for TAC missile defense? They don't have a lot online right now. That is potentially problematic for the noobs. Let's just quickly jump onto his view and let's just have a look at the range on that TAC missile launcher. That is very, very dangerous looking. I wouldn't want to be the noobs right now in trying to defend against that, because they so far haven't managed to put much in the way of TMD up. There is one over here to protect the Naval HQ. That was a pretty juicy target, so I can understand that Dumb Noob would want to throw a TMD up beside that, but the rest of these guys, and actually there is a tac missile defense in there, so it looks like Chosen has got his online, and so it looks like it is probably going to be Pappy Noob who suffers at the hands of that tac pack, because that is going to be a hard hit, especially if he can't get any T2 engineers out and building that tac missile defense. And what is he building here? Is that an upgrade? Is he scooping straight or shooting straight to T3? So it looks like he might be going for a Harvey rush, but unfortunately he didn't build the T2 engineers that he needs to get that tac missile defense up to keep everything intact while he does it. So it could be a little bit of a problem there. He might end up having to ask for a T2 engineer from Chosen just to keep that online. And we can see the tac missiles coming in now. And so Soviet Pride correctly identified that Pappy Noob is vulnerable. He's got all those engineers assisting the ACU, and they are going to start raining fire down, and that is pretty soon going to start hitting the economy. And in comes the first missile there. Pappy Noob moving his ACU. I'm not sure whether he's seen it, but the target is clearly the Eco. Down goes that T2 Max. There is another T2 Max here, which I believe there is another missile already inbound. Actually, what happened to that first missile, though? I'm sure there was a first missile away that didn't do any work. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but another missile coming in, and down goes that second T2 Max. So that is going to hit Pappy Noob in the pocket. He's sitting on 17 mass per tick. That is way behind the rest of the field. The top is actually, what have we got? Chosen, he was on 66, but that was reclaimed. We've got 65 for Dumb Noob. Fear of Noob's on 60, 53 for Soviet Pride, 54 for Chosen. The Noobs actually look to be doing pretty well in the eco game, but they just don't have enough units in a few key places, and, well, actually they're not doing too badly. It's still pretty even. It did feel a bit like the Noobs were lacking in units, but they are holding pretty well. The air is coming through here. There aren't any anti-air units in the vicinity. Chosen will dispatch some interceptors. They will be able to take those gunships out if the Swift Winds don't come in to guard, which is exactly what is happening. Those Swift Winds will very quickly destroy those interceptors, and that will mean that those gunships are free to continue their harassment of Pappy Noob's units. We've got a bit of work going on here between Calvarox and Dumb Noob, and Calvarox is throwing a whole bunch of Auroras down, trying to take out the Navy. Now, the destroyers are going to be plenty powerful enough to destroy those guys, but the micro of the Auroras could make it pretty slow. Combined with the slow muzzle velocity of those destroyers, it could take them quite some time to eat those Auroras away. Frigates do a slightly better job of killing Auroras because they've got a faster moving projectile and a bit faster rate of fire as well. But once those Auroras do go down, these destroyers are going to be able to destroy everything on that island, and that is going to be a net win for Dumb Noob. So Dumb Noob looking in a pretty good position. Calvarox has switched up to T2 Navy, and he is trying to produce some destroyers to combat Dumb Noob, but Dumb Noob does have a pretty good advantage at this point. The advantage on this side, though, is with Keyser for the Vorklan, because those gunships are getting a lot of work done. They are absolutely eating those Auroras alive, and there is nothing that the Noobs can do to stop them right now. They've got a few Swift Winds online of their own, so it looks like finally Fear of Noobs is going to respond to that air threat. I'm not sure if he really wants to push an air engagement right now, though, because the numbers are pretty even, and he needs to make sure that he can win that, otherwise those gunships are going to continue to get work done. There is a little bit of ground-based AA which will be assisting, and it looks like Fear of Noobs getting a very nice pass in against the Swift Winds of Keyser, and he is actually going to come out very nicely on top because of that poor micro. So Keyser losing pretty much all of his Swift Winds in one go, and that leaves these gunships very, very vulnerable to the Swift Winds that Fear of Noobs now has, and there are a whole lot of interceptors coming across from Soviet Pride that is going to try and deal with the Swift Winds. I'm not sure that there's quite enough, and Fear of Noobs starting to think about micro. There's actually a few more from Gorton as well. That actually means that there are a whole lot of interceptors ready to take down the Swift Winds. Not the best, and they're flying over flak as well. So maybe a little bit of a misstep there from Fear of Noobs, because he's flown right over it and then he's trying to get away from the cloud of interceptors. He loses every single Swift Wind, and that leaves a massive pack of gunships. Fear of Noobs would have been much, much better off to keep those Swift Winds back and just use them to stop the gunships being able to get to work. But unfortunately, because he has lost those guys, the gunships are just going to come in here and they're going to absolutely savage everything in their path. There are a Well, how many are there? Let's just go and quickly have a look at Keys' point of view and see how many gunships we've got. There are 14 and 1 out of fuel, so he's got 15 gunships. That is combined quite a significant DPS, and the noobs actually have to be really careful here because Pappy Noob is only on 11k HP. That's an unupgraded Aeon ACU. There are a few interceptors floating around, but there is just not enough to combat the number of interceptors from the north and those gunships. And it looks like it might be a little bit of a move now. Pappy Noob is starting to produce some AA, so he's did get his T3 upgrade completed, but he's gone back to T2 land and he's throwing down some flak, so he's going to be trying to smash those gunships out of the sky before they can kill his ACU. That down goes that flak, but it did get a lot of work done, so it looks like he has probably just produced that flak in time. There's also some more flak coming in from Chosen to help him, and that will bat down those gunships. So Keys are losing all but 2, and then those 2 go down in the final pursuit. So the gunships being completely ineffective. If he had been a little bit earlier, a little bit smarter with those, he could have completely destroyed one of the bases or even sniped an ACU with those guys. So unfortunately for him, that is not going to come of it. And in the centre, let's check in on the centre. We haven't looked there for a while because Gordon is just pretty much building up forces. He's got mobile missile launchers. He has got a bunch of rhinos. He is just sitting there happy. And there is actually very, very little pushing going on right now. And Gordon could be a little bit dangerous. There is a bit of T2 in this mix, but it is flak. So Chosen doesn't actually have much to stop a push from Gordon right now, although he does have a few harbingers out on the field. Those harbies could be pretty dangerous. You wouldn't want to go up against a big stack of rhinos, but there aren't that many rhinos yet. So a few harbies pushing out from Chosen in the right places could actually be quite devastating for the Vor clan right now. And that, yeah, it could be interesting, but things are pretty static for the most part in the centre here. Nothing much going on. In the South Pond, there is still this naval engagement going on. There is destroyer versus destroyer fire. There are a lot of Auroras assisting, and there's actually some gunships as well for fear of noobs. Gunships can be pretty effective against Aeon because the Aeon Navy doesn't necessarily have much AA. You do need to build some specialist units usually to get that AA up, but there are plenty of swift winds in play for Calvarox, so he will be able to use those instead of naval fire. But there are still a bunch of destroyers online here for Dumb Noob, so Dumb Noob still with a slight advantage, I would suspect, in the naval game, and actually T3 air for Fear of Noob. So he has switched up to ASF, he's got his T3 air factory online, and he is managing to get those guys out. There's still enough swift winds to deal with those, but it won't take too many more ASF before Fear of Noobs is able to swat down the swift winds, and I'm not sure that he really wants to engage just yet. He's coming a little bit close. In fact, he's very, very poorly microing those ASF and letting them take fire from the swift winds without any answer. So he does need to make sure that he doesn't lose all those guys unnecessarily to swift winds. Even though swift winds are still T2, they're still pretty dangerous in large numbers, so he does want to be careful of that, and he doesn't want to fly just a couple of ASF around the Swifties because they will go down. There's still a slight naval advantage to these destroyers, so Dumb Noob still managing to have more destroyers in play. They are getting to work on those Auroras. They've sunk that destroyer there for Calvarox. It looks like Calvarox could be in a little bit of trouble now because Chosen is bringing up these land forces. There's a couple of Harbingers in there, and then there's also going to be some assault from the Navy, and that is going to be a little bit problematic. Of course, more torpedo bombers coming in from Calvarox to try and deal with those. He does have to watch out for the ASF that Fear of Noobs now has though, and the destroyers now just coming straight in. They are making a big push to try and make sure they take the water and kick Calvarox out. Unfortunately, they're still taking fire from those Auroras. I don't think he's quite got the ability yet. There are some blazes coming in, so those guys are going to help massively with the Auroras, and they're going to be a big problem for Calvarox, who is also fighting off these Harbingers, but it looks like there's just enough. Gorton is responding with the bulk of his T1 army. He's actually got Loyalists in the mix as well now, so those guys are nice and fast. They will be able to get in there. The Harbinger goes down to an overcharge from Calvarox, so this attack will peter out and turn into nothing but a bunch of reclaim for Calvarox. There is a brick joining the mix as well, so now the Vorclan is starting to show a little bit of T3 land on the field. It's starting to get to the front line, and that is going to be problematic. The Harbingers from Chosen are just not going to be able to beat that. And well, actually, it's not just chosen, because all of the SNF players are Aeon, which means they only have access to Harbingers, which is a little bit of a problem when you are in the T3 land stage, because Harbingers are just not that strong against bricks, and there is UEF tech on the field as well, so we can probably expect to see a little bit of Percival play, and the Harbingers are just going to die to that. So the SNF tactics probably lent a lot more towards an early kill, getting Harbingers rushed onto the field and dismantling the eco for the other team, and unfortunately that hasn't happened. They haven't been able to get in there. The Harbies have not gotten around the back like they needed to cause the eco damage that we needed to see from them to be able to shut down the Vorklan. So the Navy does look like it's pretty much defeated here for Calvarox. These destroyers are getting to work on the last of the structures for Calvarox. The T2 naval factory will go down reasonably soon once the destroyers decide to focus fire those. So it looks like Dumb Noob is managing to win in his lane over on the right here. I'm not sure that he can do too much, because unlike the last game, we didn't really see it anyway in the last game with the Cybran destroyers, we won't be able to see these guys walking up on land, so it will be restricted to what those destroyers can reach from the ocean there. So the problem that we have got is that the Harbingers in the centre are going to have a very, very hard time pushing through the T3 Cybran and UEF that we are going to start to see. The Tech 3 Air does make a little bit of a difference, because we can see there's a couple of strat bombers building up, so it looks like Fear of Noobs is probably going for a strat bomber snipe. Now he does have to be a little bit careful that he doesn't let Soviet Pride outproduce him in ASF, because these ASF that are starting to appear up here, they are going to be able to take out those strat bombers, and it looks like Fear of Noobs has paused production of the ASF to produce strat bombers. Actually, he's got two factories going, so he is building strat bombers and ASF simultaneously, but he does need to make sure he doesn't get complacent. And Keyser, we can see now, is at T3 Air as well, so he does need to make sure he does not get outproduced by these other players, which are also at T3. These destroyers getting to work on the main base of Keyser, of Calvarox, I should say, and they are doing a little bit of damage. They will be able to take out the mass. They will be able to disable him a little bit. He is on 37 mass per tick, which is the bottom of the pack right now. So it is definitely starting to show that he has spent a lot of eco on this naval fight. He has not managed to make it count, and now he is taking fire on his main base from those destroyers. So Calvarox is doing far worse than Pappy Noob. And we've got these strat bombers. There's still just 2 strat bombers out for Fear of Noob, so I'm not quite sure that is enough, because he will need to completely eliminate the ASF and Swift Winds on the opposing side before he can get those strat bombers in to count. And I'm not sure that he's got quite a high enough count to combat both Soviet Pride and Keyser's ASF at once. And another big roving band of T2 gunships floating around, just making sure that the units coming up here from Pappy Noob don't get too far and don't cause too much damage. Alright, so the strat bombers are heading over to the right now. They've obviously got a little bit of a plan. It could be going after Calvarox. That may be the plan here. Although, at this point in the game, I'm not sure that taking out Calvarox is going to do a huge amount, because currently he isn't actually participating in the game at all. He is backing up. He is not doing anything. He's not producing anything. He is not actually active in the game. So they really would be better off taking out Gorton. Where is Gorton's ACU? And he is in the centre here. So that is going to be a little bit more difficult. There's plenty of area around Gorton's ACU for the ASF to support him from the Vorklan, and that will make it very much more difficult for Fear of Noobs to get a snipe. Looks like he's actually thought better of it, and he's, well, I don't know quite what he's doing here, because he's split up the strat bombers. There is one still parked on the island, and there is one coming back here with the ASF. So I'm not sure if that was a misclick, but he has split up those 2 strat bombers, which is a little bit of a problem. I think he really needs to try and go after Gorton's ACU right now, which means dismantling all of the air power. And actually, Gorton has got some SAMs up, so that is going to be very, very difficult for Fear of Noobs to be able to get a snipe on with only 2 strat bombers, because the SAMs will dispatch those guys pretty quick. He, of course, probably could take Calvarox out up here, because there's only T1 air defending him. But again, Calvarox is not really active in the game right now. He would be much, much better off to be able to take out one of these other ACUs. We've got Soviet Pride sitting in the pond there. He is on upgrade. And there is, of course, Keyser over here. Where is his ACU? He is over here on upgrade as well. Okay, so it's definitely, well, I would suggest it's probably still an advantage in the air. Fear of Noobs is still managing to keep his ASF production up. He's doing a pretty good job of being able to ward away the air from the Vorklan, but the ground play, I think, is a little bit different. That lack of Harbingers is just going to probably come back and bite SNF in the butt, because they are not going to be able to compete when push comes to shove on land. And we're actually getting up into the experimental territory, because Dumb Noob is deciding to eco up massively, and he's actually sitting on 230 mass per tick, and that sounds like a GC is in order, and that's exactly what Dumb Noob is doing, and that's about 60% complete. He is using all of that massive eco and perhaps getting dumps from his teammates as well to try and get that thing completed. Actually, he's given a bunch of engineers over to Fear of Noobs, who is going to use his engineers to contribute, and that is going to mean that GC gets done pretty quickly. Let's just check in the north side and see if there's anything going on. So these guys have been focusing pretty heavily on T3 land unit production, and I don't know that they've actually managed to do too much in the way of experimentals. Actually, I tell a lie, because Soviet Pride has thrown together a Monkey Lord, and that is already complete, and it is heading towards the opposing team right now. The scouting mission out there for Gordon does not get too far against the ASF cloud that Fear of Noobs has put up, and Calvarock says they have seen it. So I'm pretty sure they are confident that the Noobs have spotted the Monkey Lord and are aware that it is on the way. And we'll see if we are going to get a response from them. The GC is just about complete, and we'll have to see if that is going to go straight for defense duty against the Monkey Lord, or whether it is going to go straight up the back and try and take out an ACU. The ACU, of course, for Soviet Pride is not vulnerable to a GC right now, because it is underwater, and the eye face laser thing on a GC will not penetrate. So the best they could do is perhaps take Gorton out, who is sitting... Where is Gorton's ACU? Has he backed right up? Yes, he has backed right up here. So if they got in here, they could get Calvarocks and Gordon. They could get a 2-for-1 deal with that GC pretty easily. But of course, they have to watch out for this Monkey Lord here, which is going to be very problematic. Should it reach Pappy Noob's base, it'll wander straight through him. Whereas Pappy Noob's ACU right back here, very vulnerable to a Monkey Lord right now. And then Chosen as well, not really having a lot to deal with the Monkey Lord, although he actually has just about a GC of his own. So we're just about to see 2 Galactic Colossi online. There's also actually a bunch of Strat Bombers as well. So the Strat Bombers by themselves would do a fairly decent job against the Monkey Lord if they can dispatch the ASF. Now, unfortunately for the Noobs, both Kiza and Soviet Pride have got a nice little cloud of ASF there, and that's, well, let's just have a quick count-up of those to see who would come out on top. So let's see, Fear of Noobs has got 50 ASF. Let's go to Soviet Pride, who has got the smaller. He has got 18, and then let's go and have a look at Kizer and see what he has got. 28. So it's actually very, very even. Both sides sitting on about 50 ASF, and we can see the ASF jumping into action now, and we'll see what's happening there. Of course, if the engagement is over the south side of the map, it is going to favour the Noobs, because they will have a little bit of static AA floating around. And actually, it might favour Fear of Noobs a little bit better, because he has just the 1 cloud of ASF and not 2 separate clouds, and the micro could be a little bit easier for him, although that is a terrible job of micro, and he's getting shot in the rear constantly and doing a very, very hard time of it. He might have just enough, and that single cloud of ASF might prove victorious, although Kiza still has a lot, and they're following up behind. He is now flying over SAM territory. He's flying over over cruisers. Oh no, that is Pappy Noob's cruisers, so that is very fortunate for the Noobs, and that will help Fear of Noobs out no end, and it looks like he's still going to lose the air battle just, but the GC is online. The Monkey Lord has taken a bunch of Strat Bomber fire, and the GC will finish off that Monkey Lord pretty quickly. In fact, that Monkey Lord going to do very, very little work, and we can see Pappy Noob backed right up into the water, and down goes that Monkey Lord. So just a free bit of reclaim there, and that means that Chosen now has his Galactic Colossus online ready to go. And we've got, where is the other Colossus? That's got to be floating around here somewhere. There's actually some strat bombers, and those strat bombers I think are going to work on this Colossus that is going straight up the center, and that is going to try and punch through the T3 lines that Gorton has. So things have suddenly switched around, and it's looking very good for the noobs because they've got 2 experimentals, and nothing that the Vorklan has right now is going to be able to answer that. What have we got? Are we throwing together any experimentals? There's probably another one coming together from Soviet Pride. He's got a megalith. He's only just started construction on that though, so not the best plan in the world. And then there is a GC just started as well for Kiza. So the Vorklan actually looking to be a little bit behind in terms of eco, and I think let's just look at the scoreboard. So Dumb Noob's still sitting it out front, 257, but Soviet Pride doing pretty well for himself on 226. Chosen on 201. So overall, the noobs have just managed to build up a little bit more eco than the Vorklan, and the Vorklan didn't capitalize on that advantage early on with a bit more land power and push down. So they're a bit static on the front line. Gorton was maybe a little bit complacent in holding this position and didn't really push forward. And that has given the noobs an opportunity to get their ecos up, get these experimentals out, and they are going to do a lot of damage. That GC is down to just over half health. He's on 53k HP, and he is continuing to take fire. There is a bunch of AA following him up though to do damage, and there are of course Fear of Noobs ASF out to assist as well. There are some mercies coming in from Kiza, but they're coming very close to the ASF. Those mercies are not going to do too well at all, and down they go to the flak, actually, not to the ASF. Down goes a T3 PGen for Gorton. Gorton in full retreat now. He is having a very, very tough time of it. There are some more mercies over here that he is going to bring in to try and do damage to this GC. It is currently sitting on 54k HP. There's a bit of veterancy going on there. He's now getting to work on the core mass extractors for Gorton. He is absolutely ripping the heart out of Gorton's base. This is the end of Gorton's play, I would suspect. How is that megalith going? It is over 50% now, but he is going to be just a bit too slow. He's going to lose Gorton's entire base. Well, actually, it looks like Dumb Noob is actually going to redirect that GC, and he's going to come up this way and probably try and take out that megalith before it can complete. That megalith is going up reasonably quickly, but if they've got eyes on that, they will know exactly how far along that construction is. And a little bit of indecision there from Dumb Noob. He's now turned the GC around again, and he is going to wander back towards Gorton. So he's probably decided, no, actually, I will come over here. I will finish off Gorton. I will finish off Calvarox, and I will eliminate them from the game, and then we'll deal with that megalith later. And he definitely does not want to wander that GC up into range of that megalith because it is just completed now, so he would have only just been approaching it now, and a full health megalith against a half health GC is not a good proposition. So Dumb Noob has made the right call in bringing that GC back away, and actually he's standing a little bit stationary right now. He's just mopping out the last of Gorton's base. Not the best plan. He needs to get that moving. He needs to get up here. He needs to kill Gorton's ACU. He needs to make sure that is the end of it. And another nice thing that popped out just a little while ago was some torrents. They're a little bit redundant now that there are Galactic Colossi wandering around the Vorklan bases, but nonetheless they are nice to see. They are raining a very, very long range fire down on the base, and that's a little bit less that the GC has to clean up. So Gorton just being compressed right up into the corner. Calvarox on upgrade here. I'm not quite sure what he is planning here. He is going for a energy storage. He has got shield. He's going to go in and try to overcharge the Colossus. We'll see how good that is going to work out for him, and we're going to see very shortly. Actually, there's only 43k HP on that Colossus, so he's going to get a few. There's actually some Mercy Fire coming in as well. For some reason, the mobile flak didn't manage to do any work, and Calvarox only needs a couple more. He's got, wow, there's a bunch of shields in the way. That is going to keep that GC online. Those shields are going to save the day. That GC, 8,700 hit points left when Calvarox ACU explodes. That was very, very close. Those mobile shields doing a fantastic job and just clinching the game for Dumb Noob there and not allowing Calvarox to overcharge him. There is a strat bomber coming in. There is not a lot of air online over this side of the map. There are ASF on patrol for Fear of Noobs. He is going to pretty easily be able to just bomb away Gorton. There are, of course, about 6k HP left on that Colossus. Actually, did that GC go down to bricks, did it? Yes, it did. And there's a second Colossus to follow that up so that it's full health on 99,999 hit points. And he is going to wander in, and if the Strat Bomber doesn't finish off Gorton's ACU, then the GC surely will. Actually, Gorton doing a pretty good job of dodging. He's taken one hit there, he's sitting on 10k HP, but he is not long for this world because he doesn't have anything that can fight back right now. Alright, we've got a Megalith and a GC against a single GC. That one does go down. So this has evolved into all-out experimental warfare, and we are going to see a big push down the left-hand side. Let's see if Chosen has managed to get anything else up and running, because he does need something to back up the big gaping hole that GC has now left. So that GC deciding to, well, it's staying up because there was reclaim on it. So yes, standing up and becoming a reclaim food for Kiza. So Kiza's going to turn that into another Colossus pretty quickly, I would suspect. So the noobs do have to continue to be careful not to leave too much reclaim on the north side for the Vorklan to pick up. This GC now coming into range of Gorton. It will quickly dispatch him, and that will be the end of Gorton's forces. So that is the end of him. So we are now down to 2 players for the Vorklan and 4 still for the noobs. This is looking very nice indeed for the SNF clan, because they have got a lot of eco online now. Despite the Vorklan having a few more experimentals online, they can pretty quickly recover and throw together some more experimentals. And what exactly is Chosen's plan here? He's throwing together some T2 transports. He could be looking at a Harbinger drop, I'm not quite sure, but it looks like he isn't actually throwing together another GC. So I'm not sure whether the Vorklan are aware of that, because they could come right up the middle, they could stomp the GC up the centre and not run into much opposition right now. It looks like, well, the Vorklan is going to be in for a little bit of a shock pretty soon, because the air control is going to afford SNF the ability to throw together a SAR. So that is going to be a big problem. That is going up reasonably quickly, and that is going to kill the heck out of the experimentals that the Vorklan have got. So they've got a Megalith, no AA, and a GC, no AA, so the SAR is going to be able to dispatch those guys pretty effectively. There's still a few ASF online for both these guys in the north. Both the players that remain in the Vorklan are both the ones with the T3 air factories, so they are going to be able to fight back a little bit, but Fear of Noobs still has a pretty commanding lead. He's got a nice cloud of ASF, and it would have to be something pretty stupid for him to let those guys die to the inferior numbers on the north there. So it looks like the Vorklan not quite sure what to do. They're bringing the Megalith back. They've got all the mass that they could hope for. They've got a lot of reclaim. Have they finished pulling that GC in? Yes, so they've pulled in a metric ton of mass, but they just don't quite know what to do, because anywhere where they push with these experimentals does open them up to attack, and I'm not sure that they're actually aware that SAR is coming. So right now, the SNF clan, all they need to do is wait for that SAR to finish, and then they can roll in. They can just kill a little bit of stuff and then just kill the ACUs. Well, actually, the ACU here is underwater, so they will need to get some torp bombers, so they may have to use the SAR to kill either Keyser or just kill the experimentals and give the Vorklan no hope. And then Megalith just coming in, taking out those engineers that work, providing a little bit of reclaim, and so that is a little bit of mass denial there, and that is good for the Vorklan. They're still trying to fight back. They just don't have much. There's a few ASF there. They're going to get chased down, and actually they're flying right over the top of all of this air for Pappy Noob. So Pappy Noob just providing a little bit of support, and there is 2 GCs online, and they are going to wipe out the Navy, and there is still this one Megalith over here, and another Megalith has just completed. So we have got 4 experimentals online for the Vorklan, which is still pretty dangerous. There's another GC just about done, so we're getting pretty high numbers of experimentals, but the SAR is finished. Now, how on earth are the Vorklan going to deal with this? The SAR does have depth charges as well, so if they wanted to go after this ACU, and actually it looks like Soviet Pride is going to try and get his ACU out of the water, which is probably a bit of a mistake. He is going to throw down an air factory. I'm not sure that they are aware that SAR is coming. The SAR is going straight for the main base, so it looks like the tactic is going to be destroy the base, destroy everything that Soviet Pride has got, and then that will leave nothing but the ACU, and that will be easy pickings, rather than just going for a snipe on the ACU. And, well, actually, there goes a snipe on the ACU. What on earth was that? maybe that was not a snipe, maybe that was a control K, because he saw the SAR over the base and he knows there is nothing to be done. So, Soviet Pride bowing out of the game. That is him, and that is the end of that. And Kiza, he is now under fire from some T2 gunships. He doesn't quite have enough anti-air at all, and the SNF clan is going to run away with this one. The SAR is coming over to finish him off. This is the final stages of the last game of the IGC Season 7. We are currently in round 4. And that is going to be 8 points into the wallet of the SNF, or Special Noob Forces clan. And that ACU is just taking fire, and down he goes. And boom. So that is the end of it. Thank you for watching. Of course, this was a little bit of an extended coverage because the replay in the vault was corrupt for this game, and only after I finished streaming the main tournament coverage did I realise that people were yelling at me saying there is actually the replay available, so please go and play it. So here we go, we have played it. That is the final VOR versus SNF game on Africa, a very, very nice little map, and we can see a stupid stream of T1 bombers, which Chosen, of course, likes to do. And that is the end of that one. Right, let's drop back out of there. Okay, so that is the end of the round. Thank you again for watching, for those of you that actually stuck around for this extra game, because I know that I said it was over already. But whatever. Okay, so that is the end of it. This is Forged Alliance Forever. You can jump onto www.faforever.com. I'm going to plug this lots because I want lots of people to come and play FAF with us. So here it is. Come and play Forged Alliance Forever. Come and be awesome with us. Play the best RTS ever. And that is the end of today's IGC coverage. That is all from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you same time next week, 3 PM GMT on Sunday afternoons. Alright, see you next time.